Hey, what's up, everybody? My name is Matt Montgomery, and I want to talk a little bit about my Forged in Fire episode, which aired last Wednesday. I hope you enjoyed it. Spoilers ahead. I want to talk about what happened on the show and my little accident. I gotta explain that. So, if you haven't watched it, go watch it. The three main things that I wanted to do in the show was number one, I wanted to turn in a finished blade. Number two, I didn't want a catastrophic failure because, in my opinion, that's the worst way to lose. Your blade just snapping, on TV. That's terrible. I didn't want that. So, uh, number three, I wanted to get Doug to say it will kill, and I did. So, when you actually get there and you're on camera and you're trying to work, and people are watching you, and people on TV are watching, it's just it really messes with your head, and it's very hard to focus. And that clock is going, and it just gets in your head, and that part was very hard for me. It was very hard. It was exhausting, just mentally exhausting. And when we found out what the challenge was, when they revealed it, I saw all those Damascus methods. I forget what all was on the table, but there was Damascus, the sand mine, and there was that brick of 5160, the stuff that I worked with the most. And when I saw it, I thought, yeah, that's probably a trap. But I could have gone for sand mine or something, some kind of one of the pattern welded steels, and I could have got more money, to work with. But the thing is, in my experience, the more complicated you try to make things, the more things can go wrong. And with my luck, if I had tried to do that, something would have went wrong with my luck. I would have cracked. We had cold shuts. Something would have broke. I didn't want to deal with that. I didn't want to have that happen to me. So I just saw the mono steel, and I thought maybe I can get away with doing that. But the thing is hard as a rock. It's just when you heat it as hard as you can go, and you put it on the anvil, and you smack it with the hammer as hard as you can, and it just sits on the anvil and laughs at you. I mean, all I could really do was just heat it and beat it. And I took the biggest hammer they had in there, and I just big strokes like that, just as hard as I could. And I just whooped that thing into submission, and it was just, but it took a lot out of me. It was exhausting. It was just 3 hours of that. I think most people wouldn't have done that, but it was crazy. Just like, I'm just not gonna stop. I'm not gonna stop hammering until this thing is shaped like a blade. And I had to. The thing is, the brick was, I think it was, I can't remember how many inches long it was, but I had to go to 13 inches, I think it was. So I had to smash it this way, like this, and spread it out. I had to squish it and lengthen it. So, and then I had to forge it into a blade. So it was a lot of work. I think I sweated so much. I think I drank every drop of Gatorade they had in the building. But yeah, I got it done. And second round, I had a few struggles. I think I had like $100 left by then, and I just found a $100 piece of antler there. It was a big chunk of antler. I'm like, this stuff is tough. It'll work. And I ran out of time, and I was just throwing the epoxy in there. I didn't even have a pin. No mechanical connection in the thing. At that point, I was really worried, and because the test was, smashing that cash register with it. The cash register is an antique and is built like a tank, but the knife I built was a huge Bowie knife, so it just, smashed the thing to pieces. And I was like, yeah, and I made it to the finals. It's kind of like, yay, I made it. And then you're like, oh my God, what am I gonna do? Like, they want me to forged this $7.7 million, a replica of a $7.7 million sword. We want you to bang one out in 4 days. And I've just got a coal forge and a railroad track, pieces, an anvil, and a hammer, and that's all I got. And I didn't have a piece of steel big enough at home, and I ended up using leaf spring, which works. There was a lot of things that I probably can't mention, but it was raining. It was pouring rain the first day. It was muddy. My yard was just full of water, and it was just a mess. It was horrible. I was wearing a raincoat on the show, as you saw, but it was just nasty. Okay, so now about the saw accident. Everybody saw that, and I know they saw it coming. There's an explanation. I don't normally do things like that. It was a combination of exhaustion and my brain just not working, and me just not paying attention to what I'm doing. And I still think I'm 10 foot tall and bulletproof, so found out I'm not. But here's the saw that did it. It's a Gilmore pruning saw. I don't normally use this thing, but it was the only one that was in sight. I have a couple of saws, but look at the teeth on this thing. Yeah, that was pretty bad. But what I was doing is I took a slab of walnut like this. I think this is walnut, and I had to split it in half this way to make the scales. You see here with the sword, and I had to split it in half. And I don't have a bandsaw. Normally you take, just a bandsaw and run it this way through it and split it in half, but I don't have one. My stupid method for doing this is to take the saw and just saw this way down through it and just cut it in half. The way that saw accident went, it just looked terrible. They showed it twice on each end of the commercial break, and with like this music build up and the dog yelping and running away. The first time I'd ever cut myself with a saw in my life, that was it, on national TV. And whoever edited that, you are a savage. So I clamp it in the vise, and the thing is, my work table it rocks back and forth like this because two of the legs are loose on it, and I hadn't fixed it at that point, and it rocks back and forth when you're sawing like this, and I couldn't saw like that. So the way I was standing, instinctively I reached out and grabbed the vise like that. I should have grabbed this when I got through there. I should have grabbed this by the top, instead of having my hand down here in the path of the saw. That was the problem. So I cut it in halfway like this, and then turn it over, reclamp, and then cut the rest. So I was going to stop like right here on the last few strokes, and then grab it like this, or turn it sideways and finish the rest of the way through. The saw moves so fast through the wood, I meant to stop there, but on that last stroke it went all the way through and down onto this finger and my thumb. I don't know if you can see, there's a scar there, but yeah, it was bad. My finger was just gaping open like that. Yeah, there was blood. There was a puddle of blood, and my thumb was cut too, but not as bad. But yeah, we had to stop, and I bandaged up my hand. At least I got to say, I ain't got time to bleed. I ain't got time to bleed. So bandaged up, I'm okay, and I still got 1.5 good hands to work with, and I was able to finish the thing, and got the scales on there, and I actually added this tassel later. Yeah, it came together pretty well. So I accomplished the main thing that I wanted to do, which was turn in the finished blade. So I was really happy about that. And I was really nervous about the testing because I didn't know what it was going to be. The kill test was the wild hog with a tough skin and hide on it. The combination of having that convex edge a little too thick and the edge just not holding up as well as it should have, that really cost me in the final round. So I actually over tempered my blade just a little bit because I didn't know what they were going to do to it. I didn't want a breakage, but I'm really proud of it. It was one of the best things I ever made. It was a great experience, and I met a lot of cool people, and I was happy to be a part of it. Ever since the show started, I dreamed about being on there, so I went the distance. So that's what I wanted to do. Now, I think I did pretty well considering what I had to work with. If I hadn't been so exhausted, from all that hammering I'd done in the first round, it might have made a difference if the weather had cooperated a little more. That would have made a difference. If I'd had just a little bit more time, that would have made a little difference. But I only had basic stuff to work with, and the other guy had way better equipment than me, way better. But I think I did pretty good considering. So I went the distance, and that's what I planned to do. That was a goal I set for myself, and my blade survived all of that abuse. I mean, that ice block chop was just brutal. I mean, it was very hard to watch. Jay Nielsen just tries. He just tries to break everything he gets his hands on. But no, he's a cool guy. But yeah, that was brutal. But I did it. Made a sword in 4 days that chopped through a huge block of ice. So I'm proud of that. Thanks everybody who gave me a word of support and told me I did a good job. I appreciate it. Thanks for watching. I'm going to continue to make knives and swords and whatever I get commissioned to make. All right, thank you very much for watching and for supporting me.